EMP. You love it, you hate it. It's one of From the Depth's many damage types in the game, and is arguably the most overpowered. EMP, being the little shit that it is, will hunt down and track down every bit of electronics that you have in your vehicle and fry the living shit out of it. But that's if you don't know how to counter it. And since you're sitting here watching this video, there's a good chance that you don't know how to counter it. But don't worry, Chuckle Fox. Allow me to introduce you to the beautiful world of... But first, we must understand, what is EMP? EMP, or electromagnetic pulse, is a brief burst of electromagnetic energy. The origin of the EMP is natural or artificial and can occur on an electromagnetic field, as an electrical field, as a magnetic field, or as conducted as electrical current. The electromagnetic interface caused by EMP can disrupt communications and damage electronic equipment. Though EMP is quite powerful and is very deadly, especially whenever spammed by other craft, it is actually quite easy to counter. A visual representation to see how the EMP works is that you see as soon as you strike a vehicle and you see the electromagnetic pulse pulsing across the vehicle, you'll see that it destroys some kind of an electronic component. Which it destroyed that, but it's already repaired itself. So, you can see where it goes, but how do you keep it from absolutely frying the living shit out of your electronic components? Any kind of electronics. That means any kind of AI connectors, AI, detection, radars, anything. It will go after any part of your electronics. That also goes for propellers as well. It can go for propellers and stuff. Now, the way that you counter it is first, you need to start with some heavy armor. Now, first question may pop up, why are we using heavy armor when it comes to being able to counter EMP? Heavy armor is actually a perfect conductor of electricity in the game. So, anytime there is heavy armor on the vehicle, 9 times out of 10, especially if you have surge protectors attached to the heavy armor, which I'll show you here in a minute, it will attract itself to the heavy armor and follow the path of heavy armor instead of going around to all the other components and other materials such as wood and metal, because heavy armor is a perfect conductor. Now, putting down heavy armor is not the only thing you need to do, because despite you having the heavy armor and it wants to attract to it, if there's an AI component nearby, it will ignore the heavy armor and still go towards your AI, even though it was insulated using rubber. The thing that you need to do is use surge protectors. The surge protectors are inside the build menu and located inside the block section. There are 4 different types, the 1, 2, 3, and 4 meters. And the surge protectors, their job is to absorb a huge amount of EMP damage, which effectively steers EMP strikes away and duplicating a computer or component that might be destroyed. This is what we like to call a dead end. The reason why EMP starts going for electronic components is because it is looking for a dead end to neutralize itself. This is where the surge protectors come in. And now that we have the surge protectors attached to the heavy armor, that's pretty much it whenever it comes to your EMP networking. Networking across an entire vehicle is how I EMP proof all my newer ships. If you use any armor that has heavy armor anywhere inside of it, part of such as the side armor for the guns, or even your AI, attach it to your EMP network. That way, as soon as EMP blast migrates towards that heavy armor, it is able to get guided to the surge protector room. So, no matter where you hit on the vehicle, the EMP blast will attract itself to the heavy armor and to the surge protectors like a fat kid to a buffet. Fun thing about this is that we are using a 1 million charge blast, and it is only destroying 1 surge protector. We can have multiple of these hitting at once, and it is only going to hit the surge protectors until we run out of surge protectors. But it's also very crucial that you keep these separated. You want to make sure that whenever you create the room, there is no block that is sitting right up against it, because that defeats part of the function of it being a dead end. If it is not a dead end, it's not going to follow it. You want it to basically be like it neutralizes it and lets the EMP charge go into the air instead of being transferred back into the vehicle, if that makes any sense. So you want to have this completely suspended. You don't want the surge protectors to be touching each other like that. And that'll be how you get your vehicle to be EMP proof. The only problem whenever it comes to being able to counter EMP is going to be able to counter it and protect your detection, such as the detection that I have up on these domes, on top of there, on top of that dome right there, and right there. It's going to be very difficult to actually counter EMP in that regard, so it's always good, especially since EMP primarily comes in the form of missiles. It's good to have some kind of sea-whiz protection to also help mitigate the amount of EMP that comes towards your vehicle. Yes, you can do heavy armor beams that come up and connect to the base of the turret base for these detection turrets, but that's a lot of heavy armor that you're going to be adding onto the vehicle that not only adds weight, it raises your center of mass, maybe not by much, but also, most importantly, just raises your cost in total. So you do have the option to be able to do that, but I personally do not do that. I do not worry much about it. So I mainly worry about my main AI being EMP'd. So this vehicle is EMP proof. It could be hit with a bunch of EMP blasts and it'll be fine. Though it did actually destroy my roll control. Remember how I said earlier that it affects propellers? Here's that in practice. So that just told me I need to go back and fix this ship and connect the propellers to the EMP network. The beauties of testing your vehicles. But in all honesty, that's really it for countering EMP. Whenever I'm making the hull of my ship, I integrate the EMP network by basically just making one solid heavy armor beam that goes down the center of the bottom of the hull and then create branches out on the hull to other heavy armor components, such as heavy armor on the sides with the guns and stuff. Make it all interconnected to the EMP network down at the bottom of the ship, and then have one singular room that has these surge protectors suspended up in the air like that. And truly, that's all there is to counter EMP in the most effective and cost-effective way that you possibly can, minus just using a fuck ton of sea-whiz and lamps, which gets expensive very quickly. So this is a more cost-effective way. So there you chuckle fucks go. That's how you counter EMP. That's how most of my ships have become mostly EMP proof. Minus the fact that I forgot to hook those propellers up to the EMP network. But that's besides the point. Now you know. So thank you all very much for watching, and I hope this helped you out. Make your ships better, my brothers.